His back hurts, his cheek is swollen, and he probably feels every one of his 35 years. But as of this morning, Larry Bird has lifted the Celtics into the second round and a Tuesday game at the Garden with the two-time champion Pistons. There is a general feeling in basketball this could be Bird's last hurrah, a last best chance for another championship ring. Already that legend is pretty fair.
Do you like it sometimes when people will see an interview like this and say, he's a good guy?
I don't really care. People are quick to judge other people. I think the first impression that someone gets will always be the impression they have of someone. I really don't worry about what people say.
But you want to be liked, don't you?
I'm sure I'm liked. I'm liked by my mom, that's all that matters.
Well, George, you raised a good boy.
But, you know, I can't keep everybody happy. You know, when I grew up, you know, there was some people in our hometowns where there was them snotty-nosed Bird kids again, because we was always in the mischief, we was always doing something. And if you always listen to other people, a lot of people have problems. A lot of people, if you just go around, even in your job, you know, there's somebody talking about you behind your back. And everywhere you go, you have that. And you just got to learn to live with it. And I've dealt with it pretty good.
So your mom, how important was she for you? I mean, she has to be a pretty strong woman, I would imagine.
Yeah. She worked a lot of hours. She always worked in restaurants, always cook and waitress, and always worked double shifts, worked 12, 15 hours a day. And we used to take her check and buy all the food, and my father's check to pay, you know, most of the bills. And we just barely got by. But I think it was, I think it's a way that everybody should grow up.
How do you pay her back, though, with, I mean...
Money. You never pay them back, you know. I mean, you know, now you just get her a nice home and pay all of her bills, and she hasn't worked now for 12 years, and, you know, I don't know if she might have been happier working all the time.
How has your family upbringing helped you? I mean, does it make you, that you didn't have money, does it make you always want to have money in the bank?
Oh, yeah. I always felt that I was going to do something in life where I could be secure. And now I feel secure. I don't think money's the greatest thing in the world, but I think security is. That
gives it to you, though, doesn't it? In some regards?
In some regards, but I think money's way overrated. I think it's a root of all evil sometimes, but it's always nice to have things, nice things.
You have so much money that you're afraid to give it to people sometimes?
Oh, there's no question. I used to give some money to friends, and you know, I found out that not only do you lose your money, you lose your friendship. So I quit doing that. I used to help Eddie out a lot, but I felt at that time that he wasn't doing the things he's supposed to do, so I had to cut him off and spank him and move him on down the road.
How difficult is it for Eddie to be in your shadow?
I know it's been very tough on Eddie, but I didn't really understand that back when I was a little bit younger, you know, when he first started coming up. But matter of fact, I'm sure he had some days where he wished he wasn't a basketball player. But it's also opened a lot of doors for him. He's able to get a college education, and you know, well, the main thing, he's a great kid. You know, he turned out to be a really good kid, and that's the most important thing. But I'm glad it was me being the player, and I'm glad I'm not the younger brother trying to come up, because it is tough. It's tough on everybody in my family.
Hey, did you ever have a nightmare that you lost your shot?
Every dream that I ever had about basketball, I can never make a basket. I never make the basket. I always shoot it, but I never make it. And I don't know why, but you know, I have a lot of dreams about playing basketball, of course, because this is all I do, but I can never make a basket in my dream. We always win the games, but somebody else always makes the shots.
Do you think you're a bad businessman, that a good businessman would take it easy on the court? You know, you could prolong your career, but you play so competitively that, have you ever said, maybe I should ease up to prolong my career?
Well, I remember when I first came to the league and we played against Artis Gilmore, he told me that I wouldn't last very long if I keep diving around. Well, it has caught up with me, and you know, I do dive a lot, and I do spend a lot of time on the floor, and that's probably why I do have a lot of injuries, but that's the way I play, and I'm not going to stop playing like that.
What makes you want to be cocky and say something to somebody.
I was taught at an early age to try to get all the advantage you can. I don't know if it helps or not, but it makes me feel better. It gives me confidence, and I really don't talk as much as I used to because I can't back it up like I used to. But it gets me fired up. I don't know if it does anything to the opponent, but it does. It fires me up.
The Boston Celtics are the world champions for the 16th time, and they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are.
I can remember in '86 after we won it that when I got taken out of the game, my heart was pounding so fast that I thought I was going to explode. It felt like it was coming out of my chest, and I don't think you get that feeling ever, unless it's something that you're caught up in. And I happen to be caught up in professional basketball, and we won the ultimate game, the championship game, and I don't know, it just gives you a feeling of euphoria that you can do anything, but it just lasts for a minute or so, and then it's look forward to next year.
When you look at Michael and Magic, they're on the cover of GQ. They got clothing magazines with them on it. We'll never see you on GQ, but do you sometimes downplay this French lick hick, that people look at you and say, well, he's just not sophisticated?
Well, people can identify with me more than they can somebody like a Magic or a Michael. When people look at Magic and Michael, they see him do a lot of national commercials, and I had my run of that too, and they always see him in real fancy clothes, and I don't think a lot of people can identify with that. Young kids say, hey man, I like to be like that, I like to have the fancy cars and the fancy clothes and stuff. But the people back home and the people that I know can identify with me more so than they can identify with Mike or Magic.
Does it bother you when people say basketball is a black man's sport?
Not at all. A lot of people tell me I'm black on the inside and white on the outside. But
did you ever think if you could only jump?
Well, I think about it every once in a while, but I used to be able to jump a little bit, but a lot of injuries is taking a lot out of my legs, and I every once in a while I like to be able to fly through there like Magic does, but Magic can't jump either, so.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in.
You ever thought what it's going to be like when you have to take that green jersey off in the final time?
Well, it's going to be tough, but it's something you have to deal with. It's going to happen to everybody. I'm just very fortunate to play for an organization that won a lot of championships, and when you put the jersey on, it means something.
Dan asked Larry about the pain in his back, about the possibility of back surgery during the offseason, about spending time in traction. Larry does just not want to talk about it.
No, it's just Larry. He doesn't want to give away anything. He says he wants to go for every advantage he can get. He figures if he gives away the fact that he's hurting in some particular area of the body, he's giving something away.
Talking about money, Bob Wolf tells the story. His agent, when he brought Larry and his older brother in to talk business with him as Larry was coming into the pros, put him up in a hotel for a couple of days in Boston. Then the bill came to Bob's office. He expected all sorts, room service, charges, this and that, phone calls. He still to this day keeps that bill, not a charge on it. Scrupulous. They were on somebody else's tab, so they didn't charge anything.
Just plain old Larry.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars later, plain old Larry.
Right.
We'll be right back with more on SportsCenter as we go to break.